you're going to have more knowledge on something you didn't know before. Or people that are rich, or people that have higher status, or things like this. They're not better than you in any way. Hello my darlings, how are you today? I hope you're having an amazing day, and today we are going to talk about elegant conversation and like how to be good at conversation, how to master the art of conversation, because yes, it is an art. It's not always the easiest thing to do. So I'm going to give you tips on everything, because actually on top of my fashion studies, I have a degree in communication. So I'm going to give you all of my tips and tricks to have some elegant and classy conversation with the people and really give you the best impression ever. So if you want to know more, keep watching. But first, just wanted to let you know that if you want to see more of my content, subscribe down below. Also, don't forget to click on the bell so you never miss any of my notification. Also, follow me on my Instagram, which is lisahartstyle. So the first thing that you need to know is, like, if you're going to an event or like something, or party or something where you have to meet people, like before the event, make sure you think of some subjects, some conversation that you can have, that you will have during the event. So for example, if you're going to a wedding, make sure you already prepared the story of how you met the couple, because people are going to ask you this. Make sure you have certain topics in your head, certain stories. I don't know, if you're very anxious with that, make sure you have already prepared some subject of what you can talk about. If you're going to a party with like some friends that you know a little bit more, this is different. You can have more flexibility with your friends, of course, but if you don't know anyone, if you're going to an event, a professional event, like if you're going out with like some friends and you want to meet new people, if you're going to like a wedding, to a gala, to anything where you don't know people, it's always better to have some stories in your head in advance. So when we don't know the people, it's always hard to give the best impression. So for example, you have some little chit chat with the people and you want the chit chat to stay positive. You want to avoid any negative subject. Then when you introduce yourself to people, when people introduce you to other people, make sure you always have a smile, of course. And when you shake your hand, make sure you don't shake your hand too strongly or too softly, because people really pay attention to this, especially in the professional industry. Really important. Make sure when people introduce themselves, make sure you keep attention to their name and make sure you remember their name. And I know sometimes it's hard, sometimes we forget it. I did this mistake too. I always forget name of people. Like, this is the worst thing ever, to just forget the name of people. I just now try to pay more attention to it. I'm like, ooh, especially when people introduce you to many people, it's completely normal that you don't have the name of everyone. So for example, if you have a person that you already know, like that you should already know, but you don't remember their name. So if you have another person with you, make sure they introduce themselves before you. So like this, the other person is going to say their name and then you're safe. And of course, if you really have no choice, just apologize to him. I'm sorry, really, I don't remember your name, but this is something that happens to everyone. You know, at the end of the day, honesty is always the best. Okay, so then when you're in a conversation, try to really not interrupt people when they're talking. It is really something very, very rude. Try to make sure that you really listen to what they have to say. And also something really important, don't force your opinion on people. If they are not agreeing with you, that's completely fine. They don't have to think exactly like you, especially if people are just meeting you for the first time. You have certain subjects that you should avoid. If you're not agreeing with them, that's fine. You know, you can still keep the conversation positive and light. In a conversation, if people change the subject, go with the flow and just change the subject too. Don't stay into one specific subject. Just change it, and don't force the conversation. Don't put too much attention on yourself. Just try to be polite, try to stay positive, smiling, calm, and really listen to the people. Don't interrupt them at all costs. Also, of course, you have to know your audience, okay? So if you're with your friends, this is completely fine to have a different opinion, to have a little debate, to have some, you know, some more interesting conversation, some deeper conversation, for example, about politics, about religion, about like other things. This is completely fine. When you just met the people, it is not appropriate. So avoid subject like money, religion, and politics. These are the three main ones that you should avoid, because these are the three ones that are like really sensitive. People are really sensitive about it. Also, you should not really avoid bragging too much. Bragging too much about how much money do you have, what kind of people you know, how big your house is, what kind of bag do you have, what kind of education do you have, the people you know. Also, avoid bragging about the people you know. If you know some important people, if you know celebrities, things like this, avoid bragging about this. This is really not classy, kind of rude. A lot of people are doing this in high society and also in the music industry, in like the movie industry, and this is absolutely not serving you. You should absolutely not bragging. You should be humble. Being humble is always pursued as way better by the people. You should also avoid to brag about the things that you know, for example, about like cultural things that you know. I know that in France it's very important to brag about cultural things, but it's not always pursued as the best, especially with the people that you don't know at a certain event. If you start bragging about like, oh, you know, like this story about like, oh, in 18th century, I know that, like, this is the, no. Also, like bragging, oh, you know, I know Paris Hilton, she's just like, we're just best friends. I don't know, like, I don't know how people brag, because I don't think that's very classy, like, to brag about anything. Really, confidence is quiet. So if you want to be pursued as someone that is strong and confident, normally you don't have to say anything. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to brag about your money. You don't have to brag about the things that you have. You don't have to brag about the people that you know, or like the cultural things that you know. It is just going to be seen without you having to mention it, you know? Like, for example, when you see Obama, he's not bragging about anything, but you obviously know, you obviously sense that he is an alpha male. He's really strong, he's really educated, he has some humor, he's very humble. You can sense that, and it's really like, you can really admire those kind of people, rather than other people that are just too braggy, they're showing too much, they're just like way too much in their behavior, way too much into like, oh yeah, I know this person, and I know this person, and I have this and I have that, oh yeah. Like, this kind of behavior is really seen as a lack of confidence. Avoid, like I say, subjects like money, religion, and politics. These are really heated subjects that people are really gonna be really offended if you don't if you don't think like them. So, and I think we live in a world nowadays where everyone thinks differently, which is completely normal. We're all human beings, we all have different opinion, and people are so offended, especially on social media and everything, because they're always giving their opinion, and they always think that it's the best opinion ever, that they are right. And so if you really want to have the best impression ever as a classy lady, sophisticated, and really seen as a feminine woman and positive, just avoid those kind of subjects. So what kind of subject can you talk about then? Because if you can talk about this, what kind of subject can you talk about? Then you can talk about my favorite subject. And this is the best way to get to know people more and really like having fun and really be closer to the people. It is travels. If you talk about travels, everyone is going to be like, really, it's a light subject, it's a positive subject. You can talk about your different experiences. You can talk about like, oh, last year I went to Bora Bora. Oh wow. Share your experiences. Like, oh, I went to Italy. Oh, I went to South Korea. Oh, I went to, like, you know, everywhere that you go. Traveling is so important for culture, for intelligence, for being more open-minded to the people, for being more positive and open-minded to other words entirely. And I think that just traveling, vacation stories, and like funny stories on vacation, or maybe the things that you visited. Oh, have you visited like Paris and the Eiffel Tower? Have you visited like some monuments that are just breathtaking, and like the history behind it and everything? You can really go on and on and on about travels. Also, if you don't travel, and maybe you have never traveled in your life, that's totally fine. You know what you can do? You can watch some documentaries. Yes, this is the best way to talk about other countries other cultures, other things, without having to actually travel to the country. So for example, if someone is starting a conversation about travels and this person is just saying, oh, you know, I went to Italy last summer, or I went to South America last summer, it was really amazing. And then you can say, oh yes, I've watched a documentary about South America. Yes, I heard that in their culture they're doing this, they're doing that. Have you noticed that during your trip? You know, you can really ask questions. You can really, even if you didn't watch the documentary, you can ask questions. Oh, how are the people? How are they behaving? How was your trip? What did you visit? How long were you going? And why were you going? Is that for pleasure? Is that for business? What did you learn about this country? Like, you know, you can ask so many questions. You're bonding with people in this way. Also, I wanted to mention something, that you shouldn't ask directly to the people, what do you do in life? A lot of people are doing this mistake of asking too soon, what do you do in life, to the people. And this is something that you can ask, but later when you know the people better, because this is kind of private, you know, this is kind of a private subject. So of course, when you just met people for the first time, this should be like some small chit chat, and small chit chats should stay positive after all. You should be on the positive mood, being smiling, being happy to be here. I think that we should remember that also we're human beings and we have to have relationships with people in real life, and we have to not forget this, because then otherwise we're completely lost in front of the people. We don't know what to say, what to do. We don't know how to look at them, how to shake their hand, how to do anything. We're like, no, like we have to practice. Having good conversation is a skill. It's practicing, and then you're better and better and better. Also, like having hobbies, having passions, having things in your life that is going on. Culturing yourself is the best way to have the best conversations. Reading a lot also, like reading a lot of books, it's helping you. Watching the news, watching documentaries, I think this is the best way. For me, in my opinion, I'm watching tons and tons of documentaries. Here in France, we have a channel called Arte, which is a channel that is completely only documentaries all day long. You learn so much. Also documentaries about travels, about other cultures. This is really interesting, about other government, about things that are going wrong in the world, things that are going good in the world. You should be really aware of what's going on. You should not be like only in your bubble. An elegant, feminine lady is always aware of everything around her. She's smiling, open-minded, positive and everything, you know, but she's not naive, and she knows what's going on, and she can talk about it. Also, this is kind of obvious, but do not start a scene or start to fight with people or be physical with people. This is absolutely not classy. Also, do not gossip. Try to not gossip. This is something also that is perceived as very, very low and not elegant. Because if you say bad things about people that are not even here in front of people that you don't even know, they have the first impression that they have is that you are this person that is talking about people behind their back, and that you're not really trustworthy, kind of rude, that you're not really classy. Also, make sure that when you're in a conversation with a lot of people, make sure that everyone is included in the conversation. A classy lady, make sure to take care of the other people. So if you notice that someone is just not having the conversation, is not talking, and that someone is only talking, blah, 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 we all know those kind of people. You can try to ask this person, oh, but what's your thought on this? What's your thought on the conversation? You can really try to make sure that everyone is included. You can ask this without being rude, you know? You can really like, oh, but excuse me, I'm wondering, Stephanie, what do you have to say about this? You know, this is really like another level of a high classy lady, of like high value woman, and really, really good behavior to defend other people and to really make sure that everyone has a space to talk, everyone is really well taken care of. You know, it's just like, also if you're the host, if you're going to have some drink, make sure you ask to the people, oh, do you want a drink? Do you want something? Because I'm going to the kitchen anyway, so do you want something? You know, you can still like make sure you're very polite, you're thoughtful to the people. This is really important. Make sure to ask if the host need any help. You know, if you're invited in someone's house. But this can be an entire other video. Like, for example, personally, my passion, my number one passion is fashion. So I love to talk about this. It is also like kind of my job. I love to talk about belly dance. As you said, I'm a big fan of belly dance and even made a video about it. But of course, like, have some passions, have some interest. If you're interested in, like, I don't know, maybe animals, maybe you have a charity that you love, but maybe you have other passion. Maybe you like to read, you like to write books, maybe you like to, I don't know, maybe you like to do some shopping, maybe you like to style your dog, I don't know. Like, have some interest, have some passion that you can talk about to the people there, and anyone can share, and then everyone is sharing their passion, and then it's a big, beautiful conversation with everyone. So be curious about everything in life. For example, I'm curious about a lot of things. Whenever I see a documentary on TV, I watch it. Whenever I see whatever on the news, whenever I see something on the internet, I'm curious. I'm like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? I'm really curious about everything. Is to be curious about the world and wanting to learn and learn and learn more. The most powerful people in the world, the richest people in the world are just reading so much books every day. And so they're learning. If you're not really into books, as I said, you have documentaries, you have movies, you have like you have articles on the internet, you even have YouTube videos if you really don't want to read. Now we have the opportunity to really learn a lot with internet. It is really, Google is our friend, okay? If you don't know anything, like, do some research, like read some articles, read some scientific articles if you want. Try to learn something new every single day. Because if you make sure that your brain functions every day and is working every day, it is going also to help your health. Ask questions, and also it's completely normal to not know everything, okay? As I said, being curious, like, learn a lot. But if someone knows something better than you, it's completely fine. It's completely fine. We all have our strength and we all have our weaknesses. And this is completely fine to not know everything. Human beings, it's for a human being, it's impossible to know everything. We're not robots, and even robots have their limits. So if someone is just better than you on a subject, just be inspired by this person and just ask questions. Oh, really? Oh, that's nice. Oh, wow. Tell me more about it. And really, the other person is going to be happy to share, because everyone is happy to share whatever they are good at, This is going to give a really good impression to the other person. And then for you too, because you're going to learn a lot of things. You're going to have more knowledge on something you didn't know before. For example, you're at a professional event and you want to meet new people, and maybe you have certain things that you didn't understand during the speech, or that you did understood. You just want to start a conversation with someone. Then you can just ask, oh, excuse me, did you understand what they were saying earlier? Because I think I misunderstood something. Then you can ask also, oh, do you go often to that kind of event? Oh, yes, really. Like, the conversation can go and go and go on. But don't forget that a conversation is like tennis. It has to be back and forth. It has to be on both sides. So if the person is not responding, is not giving you back the ball, it's not gonna work. If the other person is not open-minded, if the other person is just not responding really well, like, okay, then stay polite and just leave this person alone, because apparently this person doesn't want to really have conversations. You have certain people that are not used to it, especially in certain culture. It's not really appropriate to just start conversations, even though in those kind of events normally it is. But you have to really figure it out and really test. And don't worry, people are more afraid of making mistakes and having a bad image for themselves, that they're worried about you and your behavior and what you're doing wrong. So they don't even notice what you're doing wrong. They're too focused on what they are doing wrong, So really don't think that is that deep. So also try to make sure that the people are just relaxed with you, they're just positive. So to create bonding with the people, you have to be similar, because similarity is the key. We're looking for some people that are similar to us, especially if you're dressed to the nine and you're dressed like a queen. People are going to be a little bit afraid of you at first, and they're going to be, especially the people are not dressed like you and they're more casual, they're going to be a little bit afraid. That's why we should always try to dress for the occasion. But sometimes I'm like this. I'm like a fashionista, so I like to have things that are a little bit more high and a little bit more looking expensive even when I'm casual. So people are a little bit afraid of everything, like, you know, the persona. So I try to make sure that I am relatable. This is the key to have the best conversation with people and really make sure people are relaxed and make sure people are not too stressed about you. So if you're a classy lady, sophisticated, very feminine, you have an entire power, you have an entire image. Try to make sure that they see that you are just like them. You're a human being. So for example, if they say that they did a mistake on something, you can just say, oh yes, I know, it happens to everyone. It happened to me last week. You know, you're just relatable. You just say to people that you're just a human being just like them. You're not this goddess right here that is just, oh my god, especially if you're really dressed in a very elegant way. People are always thinking that you're someone that they can't touch. And also don't think that about people that are actually so dressed up, or people that are rich, or people that have higher status or things like this. They're not better than you in any way. So make sure you're confident, you're not impressed by everyone. Money is not that deep. You know what I mean? After all, you don't know those kind of people. They work hard for this money, or they don't, but like whatever. You should just be inspired by people. Don't avoid being jealous. This is not worth it. This is not worth your time. Because I had some questions about ladies that said that they were too impressed with people, especially with people that have high status and things like this, that they were looking on the floor. No, 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 no. They're absolutely not better than you in any way. So that's it for this video, my beautiful ladies. I hope you liked it. I hope it was really useful for you. And if you have any question, leave it in the comments below. Also, if you have any tips that you can share with this community that you know about, like conversations, about being elegant in conversation during events and everything, leave it in the comments below. Also, don't forget to follow me on my Instagram, which is lisahartstyle. Also, click on the bell so you never miss any of my notification. Also, follow me on TikTok. I'm at lisahartstyle. And until next time, I'm giving you a lot of kisses. Mwah. Goodbye.